All right, and welcome back to the light. My special guest today, as promised, is Ms. Rhonda Perkins from the Federal Trade Commission. She's an attorney for the Bureau of Consumer Protection, and she has taken time out of her busy schedule to be with us today to discuss fraud as it relates to coronavirus. How are you, Ms. Perkins?
I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you for taking time again out of your busy schedule to be with us today.
Thank you for inviting me, and thank you so much for your interest in this topic.
Yeah. So let's get right to it. It seems that things are bad enough for many of us, worried about our loved ones, worried about our own health. Some of us are worried about where our next job or the next meal is going to come from.
Right.
Uh, what am I forgetting? Worried about when and if we can get a vaccine.
Hmm.
Wondering where and when we can get a test.
Right.
And so it would seem pretty low of people to take advantage of all these things, um, and try and scam people. But you're here to tell us it ain't so. People are definitely trying to scam or successfully scamming people.
That's true. It is low and it is happening. What we know is that scammers follow the headlines. So, whenever there's a natural disaster or a health emergency, we always see a slew of related scams. And right now, scammers are using the COVID-19 pandemic as a way to steal people's money and their personal information. So, thank you for having me today. And we'd love to give people some tips on how to protect themselves, their loved ones, and their community by letting them know about the scams that are happening and how to avoid them.
Wow. So okay, so we've been in this pandemic mode since about March of 2020. When did you first start getting notice of scams related to COVID 19?
The FTC was receiving information about scams right away. And we actually have a website, ftc.gov/coronavirus, that tracks a lot of the alerts that we were putting out. The FTC, in conjunction with other agencies, was sending letters to people who were promising that they had COVID-19 treatments and cures, all of which was fake. From what we could see and what we alleged in the letters to them. So you can see on our website, we had been tracking this and alerting consumers about these scams from the very beginning.
And what is that website again? Could you repeat that for me, please?
Yes, it's ftc.gov/coronavirus. And that website has advice for consumers in multiple languages. There's information on government resources, tips on what to do if your finances have been affected by the pandemic. What you were mentioning earlier, we see a lot of people right now having issues related to being unemployed or underemployed, people who are wondering how they're going to pay their bills and deal with debt. So there's a lot of advice about that. And there's also a section for small businesses who are also struggling right now due to the pandemic.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and spoil this interview for some of my listeners. I was on a Zoom call with you a few weeks ago, so I kind of know the answer to this. Um, Basically, all the things I ran down, um, people have been using to scam people, right? From
Exactly.
from virus treatments to jobs that aren't real.
Exactly. So, what we've been seeing is scammers claiming that their products can either detect, prevent, or treat or cure the coronavirus without any proof that they work. So we want people to ignore those offers. A lot of people have lost their jobs or are underemployed and trying to figure out how they're going to pay their bills. And scammers are taking advantage of that by offering people quick ways to earn income. People are trying to put food on the table right now. And so scammers are saying, you can be your own boss, work from home. Here's a job as a virtual assistant or a caretaker. And what you see from some of these scams is that one, the job may not exist at all. It might be a pure scam where they say, we need you to, we're going to send you a check to get you started on this job so you can purchase equipment, but we need you to send some money back to us with a gift card or by sending a wire transfer through MoneyGram or Western Union, which is a complete scam. But people are desperate right now. So that's why we're trying to get the word out to help people avoid these types of scams.
Okay. All right. Are there any other job, work, career scams that are going on that we can talk about?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, one of them includes the job scams where they say, for example, you can be a virtual assistant. We're seeing real estate scams telling people they can make a lot of money by either flipping houses or getting involved in real estate markets. Investment scams, our experts will teach you a guaranteed way to make money. And there's no such thing as a guaranteed way to make money. We're seeing scams where people are saying, all you have to do is recruit other people and you're going to make a lot of money. And anything, especially when people are dealing with their kids, learning online, they may have reasons they need to be home. We're seeing a lot of work from home scams. Be your own boss, make hundreds or even thousands of dollars per week. Those are all huge red flags. So we want people to take their time, avoid high pressure sales tactics. Don't pay for anything with a gift card so that you can get a job. Be skeptical, research the company's name online with words like scam, complaint, or review. And go to ftc.gov/income scams for more information.
Wow. If you're just tuning in, my guest is Ms. Rhonda Perkins from the FTC. She is a lawyer for the Bureau of Consumer Protection, and we're talking about scams related to the COVID virus. And unfortunately, the scams seem to be as long as my arm, if not longer. So, she's going to be here with us discussing them. And right now, we just got finished discussing some of the job scams. What are some other scams we should be on the lookout for?
Well, some other things that we want people to be aware of, there are a variety of scams that have a common theme. One of them is Robo Calls. So if you are receiving an unexpected phone call and someone is asking you for your money or your personal information, that's a huge red flag. Do not give out your social security number, your bank account information, or anything like that to some random caller who's asking for it. Also, if you receive a text message or an email that you did not expect and it has links for you to click, for example, someone says, sign up to be on the waiting list for the vaccine, click this link. Be very wary of that. Contact your healthcare provider if you need information about what to do for vaccines. So we want people to be very careful about clicking random links that they did not expect that show up in text messages and emails, because scammers can use that to take you to a different website and steal your personal information, or it might lead you to another scam where they're asking you for money.
And one thing I want to be clear about is that some of these websites, some of these links actually look legitimate.
Absolutely.
And they fool people. Some people think, oh well, if they're gonna scam my 92-year-old grandmother, but I'm too knowledgeable, or to be scammed, and that's what they're banking on you thinking, right?
Right. And we've found that people of all ages, no matter where you live, how old you are, what kind of community you live in, scammers target everyone. And we receive complaints from people of all ages. So it's not just older adults who are unfortunately losing money on these things. So we want people of all ages and all backgrounds to be aware of these tips, but also share them with people in your community so that they can avoid these scams. And as we've already mentioned, ftc.gov/coronavirus, ftc.gov/income scams. People can find a lot more information about what's going on. And I'll mention today, for example, the FTC just issued an alert titled Scammers Cash In on COVID-19 Vaccination Confusion that gives people tips about how to sort through everything that they're hearing, because every state has their own way that they're distributing vaccines. So we have information making sure that people use a trusted source for information. Don't pay to sign up for any vaccines. Ignore sales for COVID-19 vaccines. And you were mentioning pretending to be other people. Recently, there was a fake, it was, I think it may be an email, I can't remember how it went out. People were pretending to be from the Federal Trade Commission, offering to help people get their coronavirus relief money, but asking them to pay taxes in order to get it. So just because something seems to be from the Federal Trade Commission or the CDC, or even a local healthcare provider, just make sure that you are contacting the source and not relying on text messages or emails that you receive out of the blue.
Right. Okay. So I definitely want to get to the relief package scam, because I think that's one of the dirtiest ones. Well, they're all dirty, but before we get to that, I want to backtrack to something you said before about getting an email or a text about available coronavirus vaccine. Um, okay, so first things first, in the state of New Jersey, I was on a call yesterday, so I can say, uh, even when you go in for the vaccine, they should not be asking you for money. The vaccine in New Jersey is free with no out of pocket costs. So, and I'm saying that because a couple people asked me about that. But
Mm-hmm.
however, can we say that if you get a unsolicited text message from someone you don't know, or an unsolicited email from someone you don't know with regards to coronavirus vaccine, you should contact your healthcare provider or a trusted healthcare provider?
Exactly. What we really want people to avoid is clicking on random links and paying people money from text messages, emails, or phone calls that they didn't expect. So go with trusted sources. Contact your healthcare provider, your local pharmacy. Go online to your .gov website to see how your state is distributing the vaccine and get that information from a trusted source. Be very wary when someone is reaching out to you and telling you that they have all the answers that you need and all you have to do is pay for it or click a link.
There you go. All right, we are on with Ms. Rhonda Perkins from the Federal Trade Commission. Always great to have someone from the FTC here to debunk the different scams that are going on. So earlier you said that there are also scams revolving around the relief packages sent from the government. Can you tell us about that?
Right. We want people to know that they do not have to pay to receive coronavirus relief money. And if someone is telling you that, you have to just ignore that. Don't click on random links that you receive. Don't pay taxes with gift cards or through MoneyGram or Western Union. Go to your .gov website to get the information that you need about how these funds are being distributed. And there's also information on the FTC's website about that at ftc.gov/coronavirus.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to humbly ask all my listeners and my viewers, when they get through watching this and listening to this, to go to your website just to make sure that they're up to date with A, all the scams, and B, all the tips, because I tell you, nobody's contacted me yet with a coronavirus scam, but I remember a while ago, uh, somebody hit me with a back to school scam, and then lo and behold, after 10-15 minutes of interview questions, and I say interview questions in quotation marks, they start asking me for money. And so, right off the bat, I said, hold on, let me, I'll call you back. I reported the number to the FTC and asked if that sounded like a reasonable thing that they were talking about. And of course, it was a school scam.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Uh, what kind of scams are they running with the? Well, I guess you are there any other scams that they're running with the coronavirus stimulus checks?
The main thing that I would say that people should watch out for is if someone tells you that you have to pay to get
Okay,
your stimulus check. That's a huge red flag. Whenever you hear in any type of scam, someone wants you to pay for with a gift card for something that's not a gift. People
right.
want you to send a wire transfer through MoneyGram or Western Union, and they want people to pay that way because there are not as many protections. Unlike when you use a credit card, for example, you can't do a charge back or contest the charges with your credit card company. The money is gone. It's like handing cash to someone, and it can be very difficult, if not impossible, to get that money back. But what I will say is if someone has unfortunately lost money to a scam, or as you mentioned, where someone called you with something that sounded really fishy related to back to school, when you see something like that, please tell us about it. Even if you did not pay the money, we want to know about it because we track all of those complaints. So if you see something like that, you can go to reportfraud.ftc.gov. And I know you've already encouraged your listeners to go to our website. You will find all of that information there. But even if something hasn't necessarily happened where you lost money, tell us about it because we want to know what's going on, what scams are happening. And over 3,000 different law enforcement is a part of our complaint database that receives those reports. So we're always on the lookout for what's going on. And if people are curious for what's going on in their own state, we have ftc.gov/explore data, and you can find out, for example, who's reporting frauds to us from New Jersey, and know what the number of reports are and what people are reporting about.
Wow. If you're just tuning in, of course, you're listening and watching The Light. And I'm here with Ms. Rhonda Perkins from the Federal Trade Commission, Bureau of Consumer Protections. And we're talking about frauds related to coronavirus. As she said, if unfortunately you've been a victim, please reach out to them. And even if you haven't, if you've come across something fishy, reach out to them. And also, she wants you to know, not that you can't say this for yourself, but I'm just recapping. Um, she also wants you to know to share this information. So if you're seeing this information on Facebook Live, and you know somebody who could use this information, please link it up and share because we want to get the word out there that these scams are happening every day. Roughly, how many complaints do you get per day?
I'm not sure how many complaints we get per day. Let's see. I just pulled up the Explore Data website that I mentioned, and um, just scrolling through it for Monday, January 25th, there were 738 complaints just mentioning COVID-19 related issues. So if you're interested in how many complaints the FTC receives, how many reports we received for your state and even your metro area, you can go to our website. All that data is public and available.
Right. I mean, I just wanted to bring that up because I wanted to give people an idea of how pervasive the problems are right now with regards to the different scams that are going on.
Yeah, and for COVID-19, we received over 300,000 reports from last year with people reporting a loss of more than $300 million. So a lot of people are losing money. And with people losing their jobs, struggling to put food on the table, even $50 might as well be $500. So, we're grateful to people like you who are helping us get the word out, because if we can help people avoid losing that money, and if you can help spread the word so that your friends, family, and your community can avoid losing that money, that's a win.
Definitely, definitely. So we're talking about coronavirus scams and fraud. Um, so what haven't we talked about yet? What other scams and frauds do we need to discuss with relation to coronavirus?
One other scam we've seen is related to online shopping. A lot
That's
of
right.
products are hard to find right now. People are trying to get personal protective equipment like masks and things like that. And so we've been hearing scams related to that. So if you see, for example, steeply discounted prices that may not make sense compared to what things are going for on the market, check out that company's name. Make sure you're not buying fake products or products that are never going to come to you. So try to go with a reputable company, look for that company's name on a search engine, plus the words complaint, scam, review, and see what people are saying. But also be wary of that, because reviews can be made up. So you might want to check with the Better Business Bureau or with your state AG's office to see if other people have been complaining about a company. And I know that's a lot of information, but we just want to give people these tips so that hopefully they don't spend money that we know they need on products that are either phony or that they'll never receive.
Right, right, right. Yes, I forgot about. I'm glad you brought that up because I definitely forgot about the home shopping fraud. So to be clear, basically they'll offer something at a ridiculous discount, and then your product will never come.
That's one variation.
Okay.
Yeah, so just be on the lookout when we're trying to buy those products that everyone else is trying to purchase, personal protective equipment and things like that. And also look, as I mentioned before, how people are asking you to pay for things. They want you to pay with a gift card or something like that. Um, just don't do it. Make sure you protect yourself and you're using a payment method where you can challenge it if necessary.
Hmm. Okay. Um. All right. Well, that's about all I have, Ms. Perkins. I thank you for your time. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss or bring up before we let you go?
One last thing that I'll mention, we know that a lot of our friends and neighbors have huge hearts and they want to donate money to help
Charity.
people out there who are struggling. So we know that the scammers you were talking about, how low it is to take advantage of people right now. Well, they're also taking advantage of people with charitable scams. So don't let anyone pressure you into donating money right away or right now. Do your research similar to with any other company, check them out, see if other people have been complaining about them before you make your donation. And the last thing I'll say, once again, check out ftc.gov/coronavirus. If you're interested in regular alerts, you can sign up for alerts from us there. We're always on the lookout for scams and telling people what's going on in their communities so that they can avoid losing money.
Okay. So before I let you go, um, say I have been scammed and I want to file a complaint. What's the first step that I take?
Go to reportfraud.ftc.gov. And we've actually recently overhauled our report filing system. So when people file a report, they're going to get next steps for what they should do. So for example, if you lost money to a scam, you will receive information about what you can do to make reports and try to get your money back. So we hope people will go to that website and let us know about scams they've seen, or unfortunately if they've lost money to a scam.
Okay. One thing also hit me that I probably should have started off with. And if hopefully you'll know, are there particular scams that are being geared toward the African American or Latino communities or immigrant communities?
Yes. So, for example, we recently filed a case against a company named Moda Latina, in which they were advertising specifically to Latina women, telling them that they would be able to make money by selling goods to people in their community. And a lot of the advertising was in Spanish, and it was specifically geared towards that community. And we allege that what they were promising that people could earn was not true. And that's what the FTC alleged in the case that they filed. And we've also done some work looking at census data and how different scams have affected the African American community. And from what we've seen, there are certain scams. For example, we looked at several cases that were filed by the FTC, and by looking at census data, it appeared that in certain business opportunity scams in which people paid under $500, that people who lived in African American communities were disproportionately affected by those scams. And that information is,
That's a lot of herbal life. I didn't say that.
I'm not going to speak to any particular products or companies, but all of that information is publicly available. And one of our economists, Devish Raval, did some work on that, looking at different cases and how different types of products affected different communities. So that's something that we're always on the lookout for, to see if particular products, particular business practices are either targeted towards certain communities or disproportionately affect those communities more than others.
Right, because I'll say this. I can't speak so much for the Latino community, but I know in the African American community and many immigrant communities, people are looking for jobs where, especially during COVID, which are low risk, where you don't have to be in contact with people, and you know, the people are looking for extra work to try and make ends meet, and so
Right.
the scammers are just taking advantage of that with different cons, I guess, right?
Exactly. And if a certain community consumes media in a certain way, or if you see advertising in a particular language, that's something we look out for, to see if particular communities are being targeted for bad practices.
Wow. Her name is Rhonda Perkins. She is a lawyer for the Federal Trade Commission, Bureau of Consumer Protection. Um, I guess since I asked you about different races, are there particular scams that they are targeting toward women or toward men, toward older people, or anything like that?
Yes, we definitely see things that are geared towards particular communities. So, for example, you may see advertising for people with arthritis or hearing impairments, or products that may be specific to something that men or women would use. So anytime you have something where a certain community might be more likely to use certain products or services, you always see scammers who take advantage of that and gear their advertising towards those people.
Right. And to go back to what you said at the top, the scammers follow the headlines. So
Exactly.
please, please, please be careful and double check before you click any strange links. You definitely uh, you definitely don't want to send anybody any kind of payment via gift card or wire transfer. And I say it like that because it seems weird, but you know, they don't present it in a way that is totally weird. A lot of times they seem plausible.
These people are very persuasive. This is what they do all day, every day. And I've spoken with a lot of consumers who say things like, I feel so stupid. I can't believe I fell for this. But this is their entire job, is to contact people and try to persuade them to part with their money. So we would just encourage people, if something like that has happened to you, and people may feel embarrassed or ashamed, but let us know about it. Go to reportfraud.ftc.gov and tell us what happened.
There you go. All right. This time for real. That's all I got. Do you have anything else to add?
I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me on the show. I really appreciate it. And for people who need more information, check out ftc.gov/coronavirus. Sign up for alerts and let us know if you see any scams out there. We want to know about it.
All right. Well, there you go. Ms. Perkins, I want to extend an open invitation for you anytime a new scam or something comes up that you feel our public should know about. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'd love to have you back.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.